All right, guys, today we're going to rank the killers in the Scream franchise. Now, we got 9 of them to go, so let's get started. All right, kicking off our list at the number 9 spot, we have Amber. Now, Amber had a fantastic introduction. Her introduction was reminiscent of Billy when he shot Randy, which was excellent. It was effective. It definitely kind of shocked me. I didn't know she was going to be the second killer, kind of telegraphed Richie a little bit, but Amber caught me off guard to an extent, and her reveal was great. But then after that, it went downhill quickly. She was not a threat. She's begging for her life. Wait. Once you do something like that, you lose all credibility as a killer, as a threat. And I'm no longer fearing for my character's life because I know that they're going to handle you. So, unfortunately, Amber, it wasn't the actress's fault. She did a phenomenal job. I liked the character, I just didn't like her as a killer. So she ends up at the number 9 spot. And just barely edging out his Scream 5 counterpart is Richie. Now, Richie, for some different reasons, is going to be this low on the list. He doesn't quite get punked as bad as Amber does. He obviously gets destroyed by Sam when he gets killed. But up until that point, he tries to maintain control. He tries to keep that killer facade up where he's in charge. He doesn't quite, wimp out the way Amber does, so to speak. But what Richie does do is seems to be completely inept at being the brains of the operation. If he is the one that's calling the shots, it seemed like they were working together, so that might not be the case. They might have been 50-50 partners, but this would be an indictment to her as well. Then neither one of them seemed capable or ready to pull this off. Up until that point, they had done a good job, but it's all about how you close the deal. And obviously, none of the killers have really closed the deal well, but these two seemed the most inept. So, for that reason, at number 9, we have Amber, and then at number 8, we have Richie.
Nailed it, baby.
And at number 7 on our list is Charlie. Now, Charlie had some great moments. He had the Olivia kill, which was the most brutal that Ghostface has ever been. He also manhandled Marnie at the beginning of that movie, threw her through that window like it was nothing. So he's got some secret strength. And as a killer, if you believe that he did all the heavy lifting, which I in my head can do, I think Jill only killed Trevor, then he's got one of the higher body counts. The reason he's at number 7 on the list is because he is the ultimate pawn. He got used and abused by Jill. Jill wanted to take no risk at all and completely incriminate he and Trevor. So she didn't kill anybody. Charlie killed everybody. And therefore, he had a high body count, but it was because he was being manipulated. So he kind of gets a ding there. He only makes it to 7. And there's also some cracks kind of showing in his mental toughness. When he kills Kirby or kills Kirby, we find out that she's alive. But when he attacks her, he's certainly starting to crack. He's feeling the pressure of being the serial killer, and you can see he's only doing it because of his affection for Jill and him wanting to kind of win her affection. So for that reason and everything else we just talked about, Charlie, number 7.
Mark! That's not the way we rehearsed it.
Number 6, we have Roman. Now, Roman, for some, might be at the very bottom of the list. For me, I have to give him some credit. It's not his fault that he's in a shitty movie, and it's not his fault that all the kills were neutered by the censors. So he is the only solo Ghostface we've had, and if you believe the canon of the movie, obviously, if you haven't erased it from your memory because you hate Scream 3 so much, then he's the one who set Billy on his path to kill Maureen Prescott, bring Stu into the mix. So he's the grand architect of everything that we've seen through the original 3 movies. So for that, I have to give him a little bit of credit as well. Now, he does eventually become a prisoner of the moment and kind of lose his composure at the end of the movie and is unable to finish the job. But he does have, I believe, the highest body count. If not, he's definitely right there because, again, he was the only one killing. But I believe he has the highest body count. So for that reason, Roman's going to be number 6. All right, and at the number 5 spot, we have Mrs. Loomis. Now, I love Mrs. Loomis's motivation. Her motive to want revenge for Billy, it makes sense. Any parent understands. wanting to get revenge on somebody that hurt your child. However messed up her means, and you've heard several examples of people doing terrible things and their parents still loving them. So you get it. You understand. It makes sense. What doesn't make sense is why you cast Laurie Metcalf to play a killer, especially in that moment when she was so well known and so popular for playing Aunt Jackie. It ruined it then. It still ruins it now. I'm sorry. I know that's not fair to her. She's a phenomenal actress, but I can't. I'm not scared of you. And again, very much like the Amber thing, if I'm not afraid of you, you don't really affect me that well as a killer. So, again, while I give her a lot of props for her plan and her manipulation of Mickey, at the end of the day, you're just not scary. And I think it would have been better served if you would have cast a no name in this position.
What did you just say? Was that a negative, disparaging remark?
Number 4, we have Jill. Now, I just watched Scream 4 recently in preparation for this, and I forgot just how like cold Jill was. She's very reminiscent of Billy. She's kind of a fun mesh of Billy and Stu in that she's very cold and calculated. She has a great plan. I'll get to that in a second. But she's also super zany in her self-mutilation.
I'm kicking my ass, damn I!
Her plan was brilliant because had she killed Sydney like she intended and not left her there to bleed out inexplicably, she would have gotten away with it. There was nobody left to stop her. She had 2 perfect scapegoats. Everything was laid out. It was simply because of that oversight that she got caught. So that's why she's not number 1. And she's also not number 1 because, again, like I said, she went a little silly at the end of the movie. Probably should have just tried to get out of the hospital rather than go and try to kill Sydney, because that's not going to work out well for you. You're going to get caught, or worse, you're going to get your brain fried. So that was a poor choice. She ended up making a bad choice that got her in the 4th spot and not the top spot. So, but we start our top 3 with Billy, the original mastermind. If we're just talking about the original movie and what we knew back then, he's the original mastermind of everything. He's the one that brought Stu in. He's the one that pushed everybody down the path that we're on. So he had the original Casey Becker kill that you see over my shoulder. And just, again, if Mrs. Loomis is penalized for bad casting, then Billy gets bumped for great casting. Holy crap, Skeet did an amazing job in this role. It's iconic. It's iconic, and very much like I don't think this movie is the same without Stu, and we'll get to that in a little while. It's certainly not the same without Billy. You need both of them. They are a pair. They work together, and that's why, Billy, you're at number 3. Just edging him out, though, and this is strictly personal preference, is Mickey. I like the crazier characters. I like the actor that plays Mickey. Timothy Olyphant is one of my favorite actors, and watching him in his younger years just absolutely chew the scenery is still a delight. I just watched this movie a few days ago, Scream 2, and I loved it even more than I had, the last time I watched it, probably this time last year, But I love Scream 2. I love Mickey. I think he, again, has a high body count because Mrs. Loomis positioned him to do most of the killing, if not all the killing, other than Randy. And he's kind of cerebral at times with it. You can definitely tell he knows what he's doing. He's been prepared. He's prepared for this. But yeah, at number 2, we have Mickey. And then at number 1, we have Stu. Now, Stu is definitely my favorite killer. He might be my favorite Scream character.
Yeah! I'm ready, baby! Alright! Get up! Yeah, man, get up!
Some people might be rolling their eyes. I don't really care. Is he the scariest killer? No. Is he the smartest killer? No, he's certainly not. But is he the most entertaining? To me, yes. And I watch these movies to be entertained. And Stu is the reason I continue to go back to the original Scream. And quite frankly, I don't think if you cast anybody else in that role other than Matthew Lillard, the role works as well. I don't think the movie works as well. And I don't think we have 6 movies later, 30 years later, we're talking about these movies right now. I'm not saying it solely relies on Matthew Lillard, but we're talking about killers here, and I think he is as imperative to the franchise as anybody else. So I think he helped kick it off on the right foot and create the iconic original, and I think his zany performance was memorable and kind of stuck in everybody's head. He's got countless freaking quotes. Get it up! Get it up! Come on, guys. I'm gonna stop talking about it because I think I've made my point at least. Stu, number one, best killer, my favorite killer in the Scream franchise. Guys, that's my list. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed yourself, like, subscribe, drop a comment. I'm going to keep the content coming. I have one more Scream video planned before the new movie drops in a couple weeks. I am going to do a reaction to the new movie and a spoiler/non-spoiler review of the new Scream movie shortly thereafter. So stay tuned for that. Coming next week, we have Ant-Man content leading up to Quantumania. So definitely looking forward into diving into some Marvel to switch up. I've watched enough young teens get butchered. So thank you all for watching. Hope you're enjoying yourself, and stay tuned.